Well, Tai Chi is an ancient martial art that was also used as a method of therapy for the folks who practice it to maintain martial arts prowess and also health, agility, mental focus, and just all in general resiliency. Well, the purpose of learning Tai Chi is to actually do something quite sophisticated that a lot of people don't realize we're even capable of doing. Essentially what it is to keep the nervous system fine-tuned. It doesn't matter what age you are. That you can do certain techniques and certain processes that involve movement, breath, and focus that tend to maintain the most healthiest state of functioning. Tai Chi is most definitely a martial art. It's actually, it's very interesting. It's labeled in the old manuals as a bodyguard art, or one of the bodyguard arts. The reason why it's called that is because it was actually one of the martial arts practiced by the bodyguard, or the bodyguards of the imperial family. And it's very interesting, the reason why it's practiced slow, as we know it today, and as it was practiced back then, is because that is the best way of fine-tuning the nervous system to be able to use the same movements at full speed. And it has a very interesting effect. And it's curious that that's the way that life works, apparently. That it's actually a very well-known saying among special forces and actually any other group of elite warriors, that if you can't do it slow, you most certainly can't do it fast. And it does, it paves, it's almost as if the pathways in the brain to be able to very quickly and effectively in the most powerful way deliver a certain movement or a certain ability, the way that the brain paves those highways through basically the neurobiology of the body is very slowly, and then gradually, as time goes, they speed it up to full speed. And actually it is something probably much faster than you'd even believe. And that's generally its process. There's actually several different styles. Essentially, you have the most ancient style, Chen style, that takes place in Chen Village, or in the area of Chen Village, which is where a lot of the old bodyguard families, and who also happen to be farmers as well, that was their home territory. And as things got more complex in the history and people started learning and moving away, you have some different other elements. Yang, which is a family member, actually was a friend of the family who learned the style and actually ended up branching off and becoming extremely well known. A lot of stories involved. You've got Wu style, which is a very modern style. And there's all kinds, there's probably maybe altogether 4. And there's it's interesting. But most of them you could see you're time traveling. When you go back from Wu to Yang to Chen, you time travel back to the original style. It's interesting, the question as to whether or not Tai Chi gives you a longer, healthier life has been something as a point of contention between China and the Orient and the West, and our scientifically minded people. As it turns out, for a very long time, hundreds and hundreds of years, based on empirical evidence, we've seen that many of the folks who are practicing Tai Chi into their old age didn't suffer from osteoporosis, or at least it didn't onset as quickly. Same thing with certain things like Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, dementia. it tended to have a very delayed or very low effect to no effect at all. But this couldn't really be borne out in research up until recently. Past 3 or 4 years, a 10-year study was completed, and it's a very curious thing. They found out that statistically speaking, the people that were in the studies and participated in Tai Chi versus regular therapy that we have thought was extremely effective basically had a very big difference in their performance level and in the onset of osteoporosis or bone loss. Same thing as some of the other things. They found them to be far more resilient. They found that they were able to recover balance quicker in general, and never had a recurrence of loss of balance or issues with equilibrium. And so essentially we've caught up with the Chinese, and now we can definitely say that the research bears out that what they've been telling us all along is exactly true. I first learned or heard about Tai Chi in a very strange circumstance. I actually heard it from a person who is considered a psychic, actually a well-known psychic. And I'm a very gigantic skeptic, so it's very peculiar that that's where I had heard that I should look into it. I mean, I had heard about it earlier, but the emphasis to go learn it myself came from her. And at the time I had a small book on Tai Chi in my back pocket, and there's no way she could have known that, but very interesting. That planted a seed.
What would it be your message for people who are interested in practicing Tai Chi?
I would say if you're curious, start looking for a teacher. Start looking for a teacher, and the most important thing isn't the art, it really is the teacher. If you're very determined to learn, you can even learn from some teacher that isn't all, even all that great. There's all kinds of resources out there. There's all kinds of DVDs. So you'll find a lot of little breadcrumbs along the way. You could say that the biggest test will be how you feel when you practice. And if you feel powerful and yet peaceful, and you notice that your balance is improving, that your reaction time is improving, you're on the right path.